YouTube, it is I, Karma, and yes, as you can see, at a total Brohammer here, I have fallen into the cult of pleasure. My excess of self-gratification has finally led to its logical conclusion, where I am now part of a cult that is based on one thing alone, hedonism. That's right, just nakedness, and actually an all-female army. Oh, cool. Oh, no, not quite all-female. Definitely all-naked army. I don't think anybody has a shirt. Yeah, this army is totally shirtless, and it is 99% female, so very, very cool, I think, to have a little bit of a different, flavorful army. Is it competitive? Actually, not terrible. It's not terrible, but yeah, so flavorful army. So, and I am against, of course, Couscous 2000. We have played him before. And I think Couscous is a good match only because Couscous is the opposite of the cult of pleasure. I had Couscous for dinner last night. Or no, Couscous is pretty... What am I thinking? I'm thinking of quinoa. No, quinoa is pretty terrible. Couscous is pretty good. Sorry, I take it back. Anyway, so what do I have here? I have this left Slaanesh Harvesters. Of course, the Regiment of Renowned Doomfire Warlocks. And then, of course, regular Doomfire Warlocks. So I had some extra spend, so I shoveled them up. So I actually think the regular unit, I mean, if you shovel them up, they do about similar. They have similar stats. Of course, they have different spells, but I like their spells a lot. I mean, I don't know about the Lesser Doombolt, but Soulblight is a really, really good spell, especially when you combine it with the fact that they don't really have the highest armor piercing. What is the armor piercing? What is it? Weapon strength, that's why. Well, 13's not terrible, but still, with the Soulblight, that's really, really good. And then, of course, these guys have, they're more suited to taking out single entity targets with their Soul Stealer, and then, of course, Word of Pain. So those guys are not bad at all. And then I have a front line of, what are they called? Witch Elves, that's right. And then the Regiment of Renown, the Sisters of the Singing Doom. I like that name. It's got a nice little rhythm to it. Sisters of the Singing Doom. So yeah, so these guys are just regular Witch Elves. I think they just cause terror. That's really the only difference. Oh, they cause fear and terror. These guys don't cause either. So they cause fear and terror. Immune to psychology. They're all immune to psychology because they have frenzy. Of course, they have murderous mastery. Do they have any higher physical resist? I don't think so. Oh, they do, 6%. So that's pretty cool. And then I have the Sisters of Slaughter also over here, who have really high stats. We've seen them before, and they cause poison. So we've got poison. We've got some madness-causing units. We have the Blood Cauldron, on the Death Hag on the Blood Cauldron, which is very, very cool. Although that doesn't really look like blood. It looks more like old Jello. But hey, yeah, and she's looking gangster. And these ladies are just ready to fuck people. Look at them. They are just poised to murder. And then I have Marathi. Marathi calls on her Dark Pegasus. I forget his name. Sulafon or something. Or is that the other guy? So whatever. She's got that crazy good hair. And what does she have? I brought her with Wand of Kuradon, which is, just a Doombolt bound spell, Deadly Onslaught, Soul Stealer, Power of Darkness, Malkoff's Mystifying, Soul Blight. She actually has a really good toolkit. So I love Soul Blight. I love Malkoff's. And then, of course, Soul Stealer is really good alongside Power of Darkness. So I like those units. Couscous, meanwhile, delicious Couscous, has brought Dragon Princess on one flank, 3 Spearmen on the front line, the Pure Main Company, the Swordmaster of Hoeth, the Techless, I'm Techless, a couple of nobles, expecting dragons maybe, and then some Lothran Seaguard, and then, yeah, 4 Lothran Seaguard, which is a lot, and 1 Archer, so interesting build. Not really sure, I mean, against me it's really good, but not really sure why so many Lothran Seaguard, considering I could have brought something like, I don't know, a heavy front line. If I brought a heavy front line of Harganeth Executioners, and maybe because he saw a Cult of Pleasure, and he assumed I was going flavorful, so that was a smart pick on his part. Anyways, let's get the battle started. Teclis, I'm sure, has like nets and stuff. What does Teclis have? He's got the net, he's got Enfeebling Foe, he's got Regrowth, and he's got Flock of Doom. So I'm trying to get a hit on these Dragon Princes with Marathi. Probably not a good idea. She could have been netted and shot down. That was probably a mistake, but whatever. What can you do? At least I'm also preventing these guys from getting shot. But look at those Archer fighters. Oh my god, absolutely devastating. But once we get in these front line, we are going to cut them up. And we do have the mobility advantage because they only have 1 cab unit. We have 2. He is going to send these nobles out here, which actually are a good unit to fight. But yeah, it's not going to be great. Really, the true fear here is the Death Hag. They don't really have a lot of answers to the Death Hag, except for the nobles. And he's sending his nobles here to ward off my cab. So of course, we're going to get our Death Hag right in the back line, and Death Hags are just so annoying. They're just so good at killing everything. I really hate them, but I had to bring them only because, well, for flavor, really. I brought them for flavor. I thought it was cool. It's a nice net on these Slaanesh's Doomfires, but they're going to cause Word of Pain, so they don't take so much damage. And then I'm going to cast, maybe, I don't know what I'm going to cast, but I'm going to cast something. So Word of Pain, so they don't take so much damage. And these guys are going to get hit by a laser beam from the sky, I think. Yeah, there it comes. Oh my god, look at that. Oh, it's so cool. Come right down and do a good, whoa, a ton of damage. I think that was the Wand of Kuradon, I'm not sure. but it could have been from these guys too. They're little lesser doom bolts, but still a ton of damage on those dragon princes. A great spell. And of course the Death Hag's doing its thing. In the front line, we are going to cut through, and you can see the Sisters of Singing Doom are actually doing okay against the Swordmaster of Hoeth because they get those reductions when they're murder frenzied. And then of course they're getting hit in the back, and they can't control them. And now we've been able to lock down these dragon princes. So yeah, they're just getting wow, and they're surviving for so long with the Fury of Cain. It's just amazing. So these are very good units. The Sisters of Slaughter. Sisters of Singing Doom. So these guys I've sort of forgotten. I must micro them for a little bit, but I'm sure I'll activate them in a second. Marathi over here trying to shut down some ranged fire, so she's coming to help these Doomfire Warlocks. Not the greatest fight for them, considering these are, of course, anti-large, but hey, we'll take it. The two nobles are coming to put down Marathi, and that's a very good play. Of course, it puts them in at risk of getting a Soul Stealer, which I, of course, will cast, but I have to get her out, and she's taking a lot of damage. And, of course, mass has been reduced, but fortunately I was able to pull through my own units and just get out in time. Otherwise, she would have been dead, and that would have been bad news. But these Witch Elves have begun fighting these Lothran Seaguard, and they are also fighting Sisters of Slaughter, so that's just not good at all. Of course, Pure Main Company suck. I mean, White Lions just suck in general. You can see they're barely doing it. They're going to lose to these Witch Elves. Because, yeah, and everyone who says White Lions are good is wrong. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sure you have your reasons for believing that, but these guys just are shit. They lose to Witch Elves. I mean, Witch Elves also beat Black Orcs, but still. At least trade well with Black Orcs, so they are a very good unit, but still. My opponent was able to reform his line on this flank, but it's not looking great for him. He's lost a lot of units. His nobles are doing okay, but they are going to start getting... Eventually they're going to get Rampage because there's so many healthy units of Witch Elves on the field, and once they do, they're in serious trouble. They are shooting at Marathi, but she has enough magic that she can Soul Steal. So the Rampage has actually caused him to go after these Doomfire Warlocks, but that's okay, because I'm going to bring her out and get a nice rear charge. Oh, but he nets me just in time. A great play on my opponent's part, and they are just doing a lot of damage to Marathi, but I'm going to cast a Soul Stealer somewhere to sort of rectify that. The Dragon Princes are in decent health, and they're actually the only unit they have that gives them a chance. But I do have some Sisters of Slaughter over here doing their thing. Of course, it's the Death Hag is the biggest problem. There's not a whole lot they can do. I'm going to get a nice Soul Stealer here on all these units and do some good damage and also heal her up. Yeah, just bring her back up to decent health. And now that these guys are rampaged, I can get a nice charge in here with Marathi. They're both rampaged now, and Marathi, of course, has anti-large. I bring a laser beam over here. The Dragon Princes are rampaged. And I'm going to push these guys into the range, and my opponent's going to say GG and leave. So the Cult of Pleasure has given me gratification, and we are we exploded in rapturous glory all over Couscous 2000. So you may want to forego Couscous for the near future, but yeah, it's not a bad build. I mean, obviously it's pretty elite. All these units cost 800. These are 1,000. These are, I think, 1,100, 1,200, something like that. And of course, these are also 1,200, 1,100. And these are not cheap by any means. Of course, if you wanted to make it an actual more competitive build, you could bring Dread Spears, stuff like that. You'd fill it out more. But I think this, just again to be fun and flavorful. Marathi's not a bad lord by any means. She's a very good lord. I don't think she's as good as Malekith because she doesn't get the Gaze of Malice, which is huge, especially a countering ranged play. She does not get Gaze of Malice, and of course she does not have the Dragon mount option, which in certain matchups can be fantastic. But yeah, I mean, Witch Elves are no joke. They're probably some of the best melee units in the game. They cut through almost everything with impunity. They are, of course, vulnerable to range, but they're very fast, and they cause that rampage, which makes them very effective against Cav and other units that would normally decimate them. So yeah, they're a very good unit. Doomfire Warlocks also very good. They have they do poison, they do magic damage. They're very fast. I think like 90 something speed. They're able to get around the battlefield pretty quickly. They have those bound spells, so very useful units. And of course, the Death Hag is one of the units I would consider broken in the game. Just large, armored, fast-moving, single entity models that can just mow down pretty much his whole infantry corps. I could have probably, without the Dragon Princes, and these guys, okay, without the Nobles rather, and without the Dragon Princes, if this is managed well, it can take down this entire army, which is just, I mean, an absolute shame, considering how much anti-large there is in there and how many archers. I mean, you could probably, if you micro her well enough, and, they're not on the micro game, you can just carve a path of destruction, a swath of murder through the lines of Couscous 2000. So yeah, so we have Couscous 2000 Streaked with Pleasure. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I have a couple more battles with this build. It's a fun build. I like bringing it. Again, not the most competitive, but it's flavorful. Anyways, thanks for joining me, guys, and I'll see you around the bend.